Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is kind of ridiculous. So, in the Asian World Championships, as you know, there's a team event on the 4th day, and just count the number of Japanese competitors on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the right, for the Kazakhstan team, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is the number for a team competition, but for whatever reason, Japan competed with only 4 members. Aaron Wolf, obviously, he got COVID, wasn't able to compete. Maybe Kagiura hurt himself, not too sure. But for some reason, they did it with only 4, and it's quite incredible. So, what this means is the opposing team, they start with 2 points on the board. So, at the moment, 0-2 for Kazakhstan against Japan. So, an uphill battle for Japan, and they didn't have many members to kind of work with. So, what you're going to see is a lot of guys who are lighter for their weight category, competing at heavier weights, especially Nagayama. In this contest here against Kazakhstan, he takes on their under 73 kg player who actually won his own weight class. So that's quite an achievement in itself, but it didn't come without any adversity, which you'll see in a minute. So for some reason, Nagayama, even though his opponent is 2 weight classes above him, he keeps going for Uranage, and it actually gets him into a bit of trouble. I'm not too sure why he kept going for it. I mean, my thinking would be, you're fighting a heavier, taller opponent, you're really good at Seoi Nage and Soresuri Kamigoshi, why would you not go for those sorts of techniques? For some reason, he just thought Seoi Nage was the technique to go for. But in this round, unfortunately, Nagayama loses. So 2-3, heading into the 3rd. And Ono Yoko, she was just kind of a consistent pillar throughout the team, throughout the whole 3 matches that they had. Just consistent newaza, getting people down to the ground, holding them down consistently. So that brought the score to 2-3. Finally, Japan's catching up a little bit. So next they brought out Murao. And Murao, this is obviously his natural weight class. And he won the category for himself. So wasn't too much to be worried about with Murao competing at under 90s. It was his category, his to win it, and he did it in style with this nice hopping Uchimata. So now you're probably thinking, well, what happens now? I mean, Japan's gone through all of their 4 members, but it's a tie, so we need to have a tiebreaker, and I'm not too sure how they decide this. They could have had other contests that were the tie-breaking match, but maybe they come to some mutual agreement, I'm not sure. So here we are again, Nagayama fighting 2 weight classes above against the Asian champion at this contest just a few days before, and would you believe it, he gets a score and he manages to win it. So it is that technique he was trying all along. It is the Uranage, and I don't know what he saw, but for some reason he just thought that was the technique that he was going to get him with, and it worked in the end. So you can see the excitement in the back there, the Japan team. I'm not sure they expected to win it, but they did. Come out 4-3 against Kazakhstan in the quarterfinal, and that puts them in the semifinal against India, of all countries. So another -2 deficit for Japan. And this is another thing about the team competition that I'm unsure of, is they just kind of start with random weight classes. They don't go from light to heaviest. They do in some competitions. I think they did that for the Olympics. But, I mean, starting with the plus 90, so can someone explain that to me? Anyway, Murao, beautiful Uchimata here. But I don't want to sound rude, but I honestly don't think an Indian judoka has a win over a Japanese judoka in any weight class across sexes. I've never seen it. Maybe there's 1 or 2 out there, but I think just the gap in level is so extreme here. It really should have been Kazakhstan for the semi-final and India in the quarter. That would have made a little bit more sense. But here we see just the Japanese team making quick work of India. So Ono doing her thing again, going onto the ground into the newaza as she did in the previous contest. And this puts Japan at 3-2 in the lead, and just 1 more for the win. And would you look at that, it's Sasaki Takeshi. And interestingly, against India, he's competing at under 90. But you'll see in the final, he actually goes up a weight class. So him and Murao, they interchange. Murao under 90, and they put Sasaki at plus 90. So that makes for a very, very interesting final contest in the final. So here we are now in the final against Mongolia. Once again, starting with that -2 deficit. And would you know, Tamaoki grabs the leg here, gets a Shido, and Mongolia goes up 3 points to 0. But Japan, they've got Ono Yoko, Miss Consistent, and here she does it again. Little fake into the Uchimata, terrible camera angle, but that's okay. And then she manages to keep that Wazari lead for the rest of the contest. So finally, Japan, they get a point on the board, which puts it to 1-3. So Japan now, uphill climb, but I mean, Morao, he knows what he's doing, under 90s. I mean, look at that fake Ashiguruma into that hopping kind of Ochi, Uchimata kind of in-between technique that I like to call it. Look at that fake into the Ashiguruma. And then here, middle ground. A lot of middle ground there between Ochigari and Uchimata. Beautiful stuff. Right, so here we go. Sasaki at plus 90. Japan down a point. They can't lose this one. And Odku from Mongolia, he is a big dude. And Sasaki, I just couldn't believe that I was seeing this matchup. I really like Odku's judo. He's got a nice osotogari. But I think in this contest he might have been a little bit injured. And he just couldn't get anything going. He felt it was kind of difficult to deal with Sasaki's kind of sacrifice throws like this one. And after this armbar attempt, just watch Odku stand up. He's got some sort of pain going on, so I'm not too sure, but Sasaki, he did well. He did his thing. He did what he needed to do. He gets a lovely Ippon at the end of this. And look at this, just really, really strong, throwing the big man around. But speaking of that injury, so Odku, he's got an injury, and as I said earlier, I'm not sure how they deal with the tiebreakers, how they decide who fights who, but in the tiebreaker, because Sasaki wins this with this beautiful Tomoe-nage, which is coming up, so he goes through, and then the tiebreakers decided with Ono Yoko, so they went with her. Not too sure why. I thought maybe Morale would be the best decision, but I mean, Mongolia has to have a say as well, so someone knows, let me know in the comments, how do they decide these tiebreakers? And look at Sasaki just jumping between these legs, trying to get a Seoi Nage, but Odku is just so strong in the position. Looking for a Kochi Makikomi here, faking it with the Seoi Nage. On the left side as well. Taking Seoi Nage and then dropping it for the Tomoe Nage. And I thought that should be Ippon. I mean, it was a little bit on the side, but... And Odku, he's injured. You can tell, he's not feeling good. And the ref, for some reason, these refs these days... No, you gotta finish it. He's tapping. He tapped twice. Come on. Let him get up. He's injured. So, that means the final match, the tiebreaker, Ono, and as I said earlier on, Ono was just a pillar of the team, taking people down to the ground, pinning them. And this was what sealed the win for Japan. So Japan, they won the Asian Championships, the team contest, with just 4 members. Pretty spectacular, coming down from a 2-point deficit each time. Incredible stuff. So let me know what you think, guys. It was an amazing thing to watch. And that's it from me. I will see you guys later. Peace.